and ITVX.
Now on ITV1, time to get ready for a new day with all the news, travel and weather as we join the team at Good Morning Britain.
Good morning, Britain. Hope on the horizon as talks begin to end the current wave of strikes. Nurses leaders will meet Health Secretary Steve Barclay today after calling off a 48-hour strike planned for next week.
After months with the two sides locked in a standoff, does this mean the government has blinked first? Well, talks begin this morning, but there are still big differences to bridge.
Shortages of fruit and vegetables could last for weeks, with supermarkets rationing set to spread as producers struggle to meet the demand of consumers.
Decision day. Shamima Begum finds out later if she'll be allowed back into the UK 8 years after joining the Islamic State group in Syria.
And as Chief Scout, he always says, be prepared. But are we ready to help Bear Grylls make the King's Coronation a big success? He's on a call for volunteers with us here before 9 o'clock.
A cloudy day ahead with outbreaks of rain for many. The outlook turns colder with the return of nighttime frosts. I'll have all the details of that and more coming up on Good Morning Britain.
Wednesday, 22nd of February 2023, live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain with Kate Garraway and Ed Balls.
Good morning to you. Bear Grylls calling for volunteers. We're not going to have to eat weird grubs, are we?
No, it's the plan. I think the King's Coronation is on the Saturday, then on the Monday there's going to be a National Day of Volunteering. And the Scouts and all the different voluntary organisations are all going to get involved in volunteering, so we're all being encouraged.
He keeps, you know, he walks around with grubs in his pocket.
I've
interviewed him on this show, and he's reached into his pocket, pulled one out and eaten it.
Look, it's May, so, but, you know, if you wanted to go do some shopping for a neighbour or kind of weed their garden, that's fine. You don't have to eat grubs. It's not obligatory.
OK, thank you. Well, look, our main news this morning is potentially a positive one. The Royal College of Nursing have called off next week's strike action in England while they enter talks with the government on pay and working conditions.
Shortly after the announcement that both sides would meet, the government also unveiled its plans to give a 3.5% pay rise for public sector workers, including police officers, judges and teachers for the next financial year. And we can speak to our political correspondent, Louisa James, at Westminster. The government had some good news. Better public finances, with more money coming into the Treasury a couple of days ago. And it now seems as though the government's willing to talk again about this year's pay deal with the nurses. Is there an expectation amongst the nurses' leaders that maybe the government's going to give some ground now?
Well, let's start with the positives, shall we? Because next week's strikes were going to be the biggest.